This video is about Thor destroys ice giant until hammer breaks. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. Part 1: The Fractured Hammer. In the ancient realm of Asgard, where the skies shimmered with the light of 1,000 stars and the halls of the gods thundered with laughter and valor, a dark omen hung over the realm. Whispers of the ice giants, banished long ago to the frozen wastelands of Jotunheim, crept into the ears of the gods like a cold wind snaking through the great halls. Their leader, Hrymthos, had forged a pact with the dark forces of hell, aiming to reclaim the glory that had been stripped from his kin. Thor, the mighty god of thunder, felt the tremors of unrest ripple through the 9 realms. As he strode through the gilded halls, his muscular frame adorned with armor that gleamed like the sun, he could sense the charge in the air. His legendary hammer, Mjolnir, hung at his side, an extension of his will, forged in the heart of a dying star. He often felt invincible by its power, but today an unease settled in his heart. Perhaps destiny was stirring the pot of fate. "Brother," called Loki, the god of mischief, his voice dripping with feigned innocence. "I hear the whispers of the giants. Are you truly brave enough to confront Hrymthos?" "Bravery is not an act of defiance, Loki. It is a duty," Thor replied, his eyes narrowing. "If the giants threaten Midgard or Asgard, I will destroy them. I will not be a coward hiding behind gilded walls. Or perhaps a fool charging headfirst into the jaws of death." Loki teased, though the gleam in his eyes held a flicker of concern. "Enough of your games," Thor growled. "I will gather the warriors. We march at dawn." With the first light of day breaking the horizon, Thor rallied the mightiest of Asgard's warriors. Baldur the Beautiful, with his golden hair like sunlight, and Tyr, the one-handed god of war, stood resolute at Thor's side. The gods donned their finest armors, each piece a testament to their valor, as they prepared for an impending clash that would echo through eternity. As they crossed the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge, they felt the cold breath of Jotunheim envelop them. The air thickened with frost, and the skies darkened as they descended into the heart of the ice giant's territory. The realm was a desolate wasteland, jagged ice towers piercing the heavens, each echoing the sadness of lost giants. Upon their arrival, they encountered a legion of ice giants, a towering army of blue-skinned behemoths who wielded colossal weapons that could shatter mountains. Hrymthos stood at the forefront, a monstrous figure clad in jagged ice armor, his eyes a glacial blue that reflected millennia of bitterness. "Thor," he bellowed, his voice a tempest. "You dare to intrude upon my realm. You think your hammer can conquer the fury of winter?" Without a word, Thor gripped Mjolnir tightly, feeling its power surge through him. "The only winter that will remain here is the chill of your defeat." The battle erupted like a volcano, the clash of metal and icy flesh ringing out across the desolation. Thor swung Mjolnir with the finesse of a master, each blow sending shockwaves that caused the ground to quake. He fought with a ferocity that only the god of thunder could master, his laughter intertwining with the roars of battle as he confronted giants that towered twice his height. Baldur and Tyr charged alongside him, their spirits undaunted by the overwhelming forces arrayed against them. Baldur's arrows flew true, bursting through ice and flesh, while Tyr grappled with the giants, his remaining hand a weapon of sheer strength and skill. But as victory seemed within reach, Hrymthos unleashed a chilling roar that froze the very air, summoning blizzards that howled like the banshees of old. The snow and ice circled around Thor, blinding him, and for a moment he faltered. "Do you feel the cold, Thor?" Hrymthos taunted, his voice echoing through the storm. "This battle will be your last. I will shatter your hammer and your spirit." With a surge of rage, Thor summoned his inner strength and unleashed a bolt of primal electricity, illuminating the storm. Mjolnir crackled with power, striking the ground with a deafening explosion that sent giants tumbling. But just as victory seemed to blossom, Hrymthos, seized by desperation, raised his massive hands, conjuring an avalanche of ice and snow. The ground beneath them trembled, and Thor, caught off guard, braced himself for the onslaught. "Mighty Thor, shield your heart," cried Baldur, but the warning came too late. The avalanche bore down like the wrath of the gods, burying warriors beneath its glacial weight. Thor felt the chill seep into his very bones, but with Mjolnir he swung against the storm, summoning lightning that ripped through the air, scattering the ice and freeing his comrades. But in the chaos, he could feel the strain on his hammer, the cracks beginning to mar its once pristine surface. As the storm cleared, Thor faced Hrymthos, who stood defiantly, bloodied but unbowed. "You think you have triumphed?" the giant roared, wiping the blood from his face with a hand like a mountain. "This battle is not over, Thunder God. You will pay dearly for this." With renewed fury, Thor charged, striking Hrymthos with all the might he could master. And Mjolnir connected with a thunderous boom, reverberating through the icy expanse. But in that moment, as the hammer struck, a crack split the air, sound like shattering glass. "Nuff!" Thor screamed as Mjolnir shattered, splintering into 1,000 shards, each one reflecting the horror in his eyes. The power that had flowed through him now slipped away like grains of sand. Hrungnir, sensing victory, laughed, a bone-chilling sound that echoed across the battlefield. "You are powerless now, Thor. The storm is coming for you, and your legacy will be forgotten." With his hammer in ruins and the weight of despair heavy in his chest, Thor watched as the ice giants closed in, their shadows swallowing the light. But even as darkness encroached, he felt a flicker of defiance within him. "I may have lost my hammer, but I have not lost my spirit," he roared, rallying the warriors around him. Together, they charged, unyielding against the tide of giants, driven by the bond of brotherhood and the fire of resolve. But would it be enough? Would honor and bravery prevail against the relentless fury of Hrungnir and the winter storm that threatened to engulf them all? The answer lingered in the icy air, a question that would echo through time, a tragedy waiting to unfold. As the battle raged on, Thor felt the weight of destiny pressing upon his shoulders. The fate of Asgard hung in the balance, and he was determined to fight for it, even if it meant facing the coldest darkness alone. Thus began an epic sorrow of sacrifice, betrayal, and the forging of a new path, one that would change the fabric of the 9 realms forever. Hashash Part 2: The Heart of Thunder. The frigid winds howl, carrying the cries of war and despair through the desolate expanse of Jotunheim. Thor stood amidst the chaos, his warriors rallying behind him, their faces grim yet resolute. Ice giants advanced like a tide, their monstrous forms towering over the battlefield, each one a testament to the ancient rage and sorrow of their kind. Within Mjolnir shattered, the god of thunder felt the raw energy of his spirit clashing against the icy despair that threatened to engulf him. He summoned the courage swelling within him, a tempest born of anger and grief, and raised his voice above the din. "Brothers and sisters of Asgard, today, we fight not just for victory, but for honor, for the legacy we carry on our backs." Baldur, radiant even in the face of ice and shadow, stepped forward. "Thor, we've been forged in the fires of battle. We will overcome this darkness together. Let your heart guide you. Then let us find a new path to victory," Tyr declared, his one remaining hand clenched round the hilt of his sword, a symbol of sacrifice and strength. "We will not yield to the giants, nor to their icy grasp." As the giants surged forth, Thor felt the air crackle with tension. With every step they took, the ground seemed to groan beneath the weight of their wrath-ridden hearts. Hrungnir, towering with the stature of a mountain, led them, eyes gleaming with icy malice. "You think your words will shield you? Thunder God, your spirit is broken, your hammer is dust. Words are all I need." Thor bellowed, charging into the fray. Each swing of his arms, each thrust of his body became a testament to his defiance. He fought without the might of Mjolnir, but with the fury of a storm, unleashing punches that shattered ice and sent giants sprawling. The warriors of Asgard followed him, their roars mingling with the clash of steel against ice. Baldur loosed arrow after arrow, each one striking true and igniting a spark of hope in their hearts. Tyr, with the ferocity of a lion, engaged the giants, his sword carving a path through the enemies, each strike a symphony of bravery. But Hrungnir was relentless, his voice booming above the battlefield. "You cannot win, Thor. The storm will carry you to your grave." He thrust his hands toward the skies, and clouds congregated, swirling ominously, darkening the horizon as a fierce blizzard erupted. "Stand firm," Thor shouted, his voice breaking through the howl of the wind. He felt an energy within him, igniting the embers of his resolve. With a fierce growl, he charged forward, the blizzard swirling around him, stinging his skin like shards of glass. Tyr fought valiantly, his sword clashing against the massive ice axes wielded by the giant, but even his strength was waning. Baldur, however, remained untouched by the cold, the light of his spirit illuminating the darkness of despair. "Thor, we must find a way to reach Hrungnir. We cannot let fear rule us." "Agreed," Thor replied, his eyes flashing with determination. "We will break through the storm, and I will face him once more." Climbing a ridge of ice, Thor spotted Hrungnir standing like a colossus, the chill of the storm swirling around him. The sight ignited a fierce rage within him. "You will not take my home or my brothers," he roared, charging up a frozen hill, his heart pounding like thunder. The ice giant turned, a wicked smile spreading across his face. "You march to your death, Thunder God, the cold will consume you." But Thor, seizing a moment of clarity amidst the chaos, called upon the very essence of thunder that resided within his heart. He summoned the storm's fury, and with arms stretched wide, a surge of electric energy erupted, illuminating the darkness. The energy coiled around him, and in that moment of desperation, he felt a surge of power like the birth of a new star. He realized that while Mjolnir had fallen, the spirit of the hammer lived on in him. He was the storm personified. Hrymthus roared in rage as bolts of lightning surged forth from Thor's fingertips, striking at the ice that formed around him. "You think you can challenge me with mere sparks? I am winter incarnate." With every bolt, Thor's strength grew, manifesting in waves of energy that rippled through the air. "I am not just the wielder of a hammer, I am Thor, the god of thunder." The ground quaked beneath them as the winds howled in response, the forces of nature bending to the will of the god of thunder. The air crackled with electricity as a bolt of thunder struck Hrymthus, sending him staggering back, the ice armor that protected him cracking under the onslaught. "You will pay for this insolence." Hrymthus roared, gathering his strength. The giants around him began to chant, their voices rising like a chilling hymn that echoed through the valley, calling upon the ancient forces of ice and snow. But even as the cold surged, Thor stood undaunted, empowered by the spirit of his brothers and the legends of his forefathers. "You may summon the storm, but it is my right to command it," he shouted, his voice a clarion call. With renewed fervor, he charged down the ridge, a blazing figure amidst the swirling snow. Hrymthus raised his hands, summoning an avalanche, but Thor would not be deterred. The blinding light of his defiance tore through the heart of the blizzard as he leaped forward, the storm swirling in his wake. Balder and Tyr followed, their spirits ignited by Thor's determination. As they surged forward, they unleashed a whirlwind of blades and arrows against the oncoming giants. The ground trembled beneath the weight of the battle, and the skies darkened as their fate hung by a thread. "Now, Thor!" Balder shouted, pointing toward Hrymthus, whose massive form loomed closer, eyes ablaze with fury. With a primal scream, Thor tapped into the raw power of the storm, channeling the very essence of thunder. A bolt of lightning erupted from his outstretched hand, striking Hrymthus with a force that shook the heavens. The giant staggered, surprise etched across his icy features, but it was not enough to defeat him. "Strike true, my brother." Tyr cried out, using his remaining strength to distract Hrymthus. The god of war lunged forward, grappling with the ice giant, embodying the spirit of sacrifice. In that moment, Thor saw his chance. He gathered all the energy coursing through him, focusing it into a singular point, a spark of divine wrath. "For Asgard," he cried, unleashing a monumental bolt of lightning that fractured the heavens, striking Hrymthus squarely in the chest. The giant roared in agony, collapsing to his knees as the force of the storm consumed him. The icy winds whirled violently, but the remnants of Hrymthus' power flickered like dying embers. "Victory is ours!" Balder shouted, a triumphant smile spreading across his face, but Thor remained vigilant, knowing the ice giants still loomed. With Hrymthus defeated, the remaining giants faltered, they were dissipating like mist under the morning sun. But Thor knew better than to lower his guard. "We must drive them back to the frozen abyss," he yelled, rallying his warriors for one final push. They charged, hearts ablaze with determination, and for every giant that fell, Thor felt the weight of victory easing the burden of his shattered hammer. The spirit of Mjolnir, the thunderous legacy of his kin, pulsed through him, a reminder that true strength lies not in the weapon but in the heart that wields it. The giants fell back, retreating into the icy shadows of Jotunheim, their once mighty forms dwindling as the might of the Asgardians surged. With each step forward, Thor felt the flicker of hope ignite like a beacon, guiding them toward their destiny. As the last of the giants fled, Thor looked upon his comrades, each battered but unbroken, a testament to their unwavering honor. He felt the warmth within, a bond forged not by the might of a hammer but by the unyielding spirit of brotherhood. "Let this day be remembered," Thor declared, raising his arms to the heavens, the winds still swirling but now filled with the energy of triumph. "We have faced the storm and emerged victorious. We are the guardians of Asgard, and we will stand firm against any darkness that dares to approach." The cheers of his warriors rose in a crescendo, echoing through the icy expanse, a melody of honor and defiance. But even as they celebrated, Thor felt the weight of destiny lingering. The battle against Hrymthus may have been won, but he knew there would always be more challenges on the horizon. As the echoes of victory faded, he gazed into the distance, the dark clouds still swirling ominously above the realm. The storm may have been quieted for now, but Thor understood that true perseverance came not from a weapon, but from the relentless spirit of those willing to... Hash Part 3, The Shattered Echoes of Thunder. As the last echoes of victory reverberated through the icy wastelands of Jotunheim, Thor stood amidst the remnants of battle, heart still racing from the thrill of combat. His warriors, bruised but unyielding, surrounded him, their faces painted with the fierce light of triumph while the cold whispered remnants of despair. But the shadows of defeat lingered, for the shattering of MJL now weighed heavily on his spirit. Today, we have fought fiercely, he declared, raising his hands, still tinged with the crackling energy of the storm. But let us not forget the price we paid. Princes may have fallen, yet darkness is ever patient, and it shall rise again. Balder approached, his golden head tasseled by the icy winds, an aura of light that seemed to defy the chill. We shall remain vigilant, Thor. The giants may retreat, but old grudges die hard. Their leader's ambition will not simply vanish with his death. Indeed, Tyr, ever stoic yet bruised, interjected. But we must also gather what remains of MJL. In its shards lies the essence of its power, a piece of the thunder that once was, a reminder of the storm we command together. Thor nodded, feeling the warmth of camaraderie wrap around him like a cloak. Then we shall seek those shards, each piece is a testament to the legacy we carry. We will forge a new weapon, one stronger than before, and we shall wield its power together. As the warriors gathered the remnants of the shattered hammer, the air hummed with hope. Yet Thor's heart shifted, a storm brewing within him. An uneasy feeling gnawed at the edges of his mind, whispering of the dark forces that still lurked in the shadows. The remnants of an ancient curse, a prophecy sealed in ice and fear. Thor, the voice cried, breaking his reverie. It was Loki, appearing in a swirl of shadow and mischief, his emerald eyes glinting with intrigue. You've won this battle against the giants, but a greater darkness stirs in the depths of Jotunheim. You cannot ignore the whispers of faith. What do you speak of, brother? Thor demanded, his patience thinning. Do you come to taunt me in victory, or is it some twisted riddle meant to confound? Neither, Loki replied, a grin flickering across his lips. But I bear news that may change the very fabric of our victory. Hrimthurs had a secret allies being slumbering beneath the ice, cursed giants banned by the ancient magic of Hel herself. They awaken. A chill raced down Thor's spine. Awaken, what madness do you bring to my ears, Loki? Madness, dear brother, is the echo of fate. The ice will melt, and they shall rise, their vengeance burning hotter than the fires of Muspelheim. I suggest we gather our strength for what is to come. Loki's grin faded, replaced by an earnest stare. We must act swiftly. Without another word, Thor turned back to his comrades, his expression darkened with concern. We must forge a new weapon. This day has shown us the strength of unity, and we will need it more than ever. We will return to Asgard, where the forge of the gods waits, and build our destiny anew. The warriors cheered, yet Thor's heart remained heavy. The weight of the hammer fragments felt like chains, binding him to the uncertainty of their future. As they crossed the Bifrost, the vibrant colors of the rainbow bridge trembled under his steps, reflecting the turmoil within him. Hash, the forge of destiny. Upon their return to Asgard, the halls brimmed with the warmth of flames and the sound of clinking metal. The great forge, tended by the dwarven smiths of Nidavellir, glowed like the heart of a sun. Thor, Balder, and Tyr stood before the fires, the shards of MJL laid out before them like jewels waiting to be reborn. By the divine sparks of creation, we shall forge a weapon that sings with the power of thunder. Thor declared, his voice a thunderous echo, filling the great hall with renewed purpose. Sweat and grime coated their brows as they worked, each strike of metal against metal resonating deep within their spirits. Let the magic of Asgard flow through us and into this weapon, Balder urged, his voice steady despite the fatigue. We shall shape it not just with metal but with our honor, our sacrifices, and our bond as brothers. As the dwarven smiths hammered and molded the shards, a humming energy embraced the room. Thor felt the presence of the old gods, their specters swelling around him, blessing the forge. Then, just as the final piece of the weapon began to take shape, an ominous shadow swept across the forge, freezing the air. Loki's voice pierced the silence. We have little time, brother. He turned, eyes darting towards the entrance. The darkness is upon us, and we must face the awakening giants. Let them come. Thor roared, the fire reflecting in his eyes. We shall not cower. We are the storm, and we will unleash our fury. With a final clang, the weapon was forged. It gleamed with a brilliant light, a new creation born from shattered dreams and tempered with the essence of valor. It held the power of their unity, a hammer reborn not just as MJL but as **MJL Roman 2 **, a weapon of greater strength and resilience. Holding the new hammer aloft, Thor felt its pulse, a rhythm that synchronized with his own heart, a promise of thunder and vengeance. Let the wind carry our message, he bellowed. Let the giants hear that we are coming. Hash, the onslaught of the awakened. The call to battle echoed through Asgard as the warriors prepared for the impending storm. With MJL Roman 2 in hand, Thor led the charge across the Bifrost once more, his heart filled with determination and dread. As they descended into the icy realm of Jotunheim, the ground seemed to tremble beneath them. The air crackled with tension, and the whispers of ancient magic intensified, echoing in their minds like a haunting melody. Then, as they reached the heart of the frozen wasteland, a rumble shattered the stillness. The earth split, revealing a colossal figure, a titan of ice and fury, adorned in chains of frost. "You dare return, Thor," the figure bellowed, its voice a chilling wind. "I am Kaldur, the Frostbound. Your victory was but a fleeting moment, and now your reckoning has come." With a roar, Thor charged, wielding Mjolnir Roman II with the ferocity of a storm. The clash of the hammer against Kaldur's ice armor resounded like thunder, sending shockwaves ripping through the battlefield. The giants awakened from their slumber, the icy forms rising like a tide, ready to reclaim their vengeance. "Stand firm," Thor commanded, rallying his warriors. "For Asgard, for honor, for every soul that fought and fell." Balder released a volley of arrows, each one ignited with divine light, piercing through the ranks of the giants while Tyr fought with all the might and skill remaining in his body. The icy hordes surged forward, their numbers overwhelming, yet the Asgardians stood their ground. Kaldur swung his massive ice sword, a blow that threatened to cleave Thor in two. But with Mjolnir Roman II, Thor deflected the blow, the sound reverberating like a clash of titans. "You will not take our home," he bellowed, summoning the thunderous energy of his ancestors. As the storm raged, Thor unleashed a bolt of lightning that split the skies, striking Kaldur head-on. The frost giant staggered, rage mingling with surprise as the essence of thunder coursed through him. "You may be strong, but you cannot defeat the cold that binds me." Kaldur howled, fury igniting the air around him. "Then let the storm freeze your heart," Thor shouted, summoning the raw forces of nature. Lightning danced across the battlefield, striking down giants and illuminating the darkness. "For every fallen brother, we fight." The clash escalated into a tempest of chaos. Warriors battled with determination, the cries of the fallen mingling with the clash of steel. Amongst the fray, Balder's light shone like a beacon, guiding them through the storm while Tyr fought valiantly, his spirit unwavering even as the odds stacked against them. But Kaldur rallied the giants, a tidal wave of ice, and rage crashing toward them. "You will drown beneath the weight of your hubris," he roared, raising his sword to summon an avalanche that threatened to bury them all. "No, we are the storm," Thor shouted, channeling the power of Mjolnir Roman II, a swelling vortex of energy erupting around him. The ground shook beneath their feet, and the heavens opened, pouring forth a torrent of light that shattered the darkness. With a mighty swing of his hammer, Thor unleashed a cataclysmic blast that tore through the ranks of the giants. "Stand with me, brothers, we will shatter this darkness," he cried, his voice cutting through the chaos. As the storm are. Hash Part 4, The Reckoning of Ice and Thunder. The storm raged on, each crack of thunder echoing like the fury of 1,000 battles. Kaldur, the Frostbound, loomed over the battlefield, his jagged ice sword glinting ominously in the dim light as he ready to unleash his devastating avalanche. The giants behind him, awakened from their slumber, surged forward like a tidal wave of fury, their howls resonating through the icy expanse of Jotunheim. "Stand your ground," Thor roared, clutching Mjolnir Roman II tightly, feeling its power coursing like wildfire through his veins. "For every fallen warrior, for every brother lost in the depths of despair, we shall prevail. Your thunder may roar, but it shall not drown out the winter." Kaldur bellowed, his voice a chilling wind that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. "You are surrounded. Thunder God, surrender, and I may grant you a swift death." "Never." Thor roared thunder through the air as he charged, his hammer crackling with energy. He swung Mjolnir Roman II above his head, summoning forth a tempest of lightning that illuminated the darkened horizon. The very air shimmered with the electric fervor of battle, and the elements themselves seemed to respond to his call. "Onward, warriors of Asgard!" Balder shouted, his arrows whistling through the air, each one ignited with divine light, finding their marks in the hearts of the giants. "We are the flame that shall not be extinguished." The clash of steel against ice reverberated across the battlefield as Tyr, his sword gleaming with the essence of his undying spirit, carved a path through the advancing horde. "Fight with honor, for glory," he cried, inspiring his comrades as he struck down two giants with one swift motion, their forms crashing to the ground in a cacophony of ice and despair. Yet Kaldur, his eyes blazing with rage, summoned the forces of the storm, raising his colossal sword high. "You think to defy me? I will bury you beneath the weight of winter." With a thunderous swing, he unleashed an avalanche that cascaded down from the icy cliffs, a wall of death that threatened to consume them all. Thor, his heart pounding with the weight of destiny, felt the ground tremble beneath him. "Hold your ground, we will not falter," he shouted, and with a mighty swing of his hammer, he called forth a blinding burst of lightning that split the avalanche in two. The snow and ice exploded in a shower of crystalline shards, cascading around them like a storm of falling stars. "Now!" Thor shouted, rallying his warriors. "Push forward, drive them back into the icy abyss." With renewed vigor, the Asgardians surged, their spirits igniting like flames in a dark night. Each warrior fought with unmatched ferocity, the bonds of brotherhood lifting their hearts above the fray. But the tide of giants was relentless, and Kaldir stood like an insurmountable mountain, determined to crush their resolve. "Even your thunder is no match for the cold that binds me," Kaldir roared, advancing with inexorable strength. "I will freeze your spirit and shatter your legacy." But as he swung his sword to strike Thor down, the god of thunder retaliated with a fury that echoed through the realms. Thor leaped, and Elnar Romantu overhead, and struck with all the power he could muster. The collision sent shockwaves through the air, reverberating like the pulse of a great heartbeat. "Your icy heart shall melt before the might of the storm," Thor declared, channeling the essence of thunder as the skies crackled and roared in response. The collision threw Kaldir back, staggering him as ice splintered around him. Yet the frostbound would not yield. Regaining his stance, he summoned a fierce blizzard, swelling ice and snow that enveloped the battlefield, dulling the senses and blinding the warriors of Asgard. "Feel the chill of despair," he shouted, his voice lost in the howling winds. The giants advanced, their shadows looming like a dark omen against the swelling storm. "Together," Baldur shouted, his voice piercing through the blizzard. "We are stronger united. Focus on the light." In the heart of the storm, the flickering ember of hope ignited within Thor. "For every brother we have lost," he cried, raising Elnar Romantu high, "we shall fight with the strength of their spirits there with us." As if summoned by his words, a surge of energy pulsed through the ranks of Asgard's warriors, igniting their hearts with renewed determination. The wind swirled, and the light of Baldur's arrows illuminated the darkness, each one finding its mark amidst the chaos. "Let the storm answer our call," Thor shouted, slamming Elnar Romantu against the ground. A tremor rippled through the icy terrain, sending shockwaves that shook the very foundation of Jotunheim. The skies cracked open, unleashing a cascade of lightning that danced and flickered, striking down the giants and scattering their ranks. "Push forward," Tyr bellowed, his voice unwavering as he lunged for Kaldir, their clash echoing like the clash of titans. The two grappled fiercely, each blow reverberating through the air, a testament to their unyielding wills. "Your fire will not burn me," Kaldir spat, struggling against Tyr's relentless assault. "I am the winter's fury, and I will not be contained." But Thor, sensing the tide of battle shifting, rallied his warriors. "Together we will encircle him for Asgard." His voice roared with the might of thunder, rallying them into a cohesive front. As the storm of giants fell back, Thor's eyes locked onto Kaldir, whose icy determination seemed unbreakable. "You fight well, frostbound," Thor growled, his heart pounding with renewed purpose. But even the fiercest storm must yield to the strength of thunder. With a final surge of energy, Thor charged, Elnar Romantu crackling with the essence of thunder and lightning. He leaped high above the battlefield, channeling all his rage and sorrow into one final strike. The energy coiled around him, a tempest of divine wrath, as he descended like a comet, striking Kaldir with a force that shattered the ground beneath them. "Feel the fury of this storm," Thor bellowed, unleashing a cataclysmic explosion of energy. The blast erupted in a blinding light that pierced the blizzard, scattering the remnants of ice and snow that had held the giants in their grip. Kaldir roared in agony as the power of the storm overwhelmed him, his icy form cracking and splintering under the relentless force. "No, this cannot be," he howled, the sound echoing through the mountains, reverberating like the wails of the lost. In that moment, the tide of battle shifted. The remaining giants faltered, fear creeping into their hearts as they witnessed their leader's fall. With renewed resolve, the Asgardians charged forward, their spirits ablaze with the fire of victory, fueled by the memory of their fallen brothers. "Drive them back," Baldur shouted, his voice ringing clear as he unleashed a hail of arrows that ignited the darkness. "For honor, for our fallen, for Asgard." With every step forward, the giants retreated, their confidence shattered like ice beneath a relentless sun. Thor stood at the forefront, and Elnar Romantu crackling with energy, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. As the last of the giants fled, Thor raised his hammer high, filled with the echoes of thunder. "Let this day be remembered. We have faced the storm and emerged victorious." The cheers of his warriors echoed through the icy expanse, resounding like a chorus of triumph. Yet, even amidst their celebration, Thor's heart remained heavy. He felt the weight of destiny pressing upon him, the shadows of the past whispering of challenges yet to come. Tonight we rejoice, Thor declared, his voice filled with resolve. But tomorrow we will prepare. The giants may have been driven back, but darkness lingers in the corners of our realm. We must remain vigilant. Balder nodded, his radiant presence a steadying force. Together, we will face whatever challenges the future holds. We will not yield. As they gathered their wounded and mourned their losses, Thor felt a bond stronger than any weapon enveloped them. They were not merely warriors, they were brothers born of fire and thunder, destined to forge their legacy anew. And as the echoes of victory faded into the night, a star shone bright above them, a reminder that even in the darkest hours, hope would always rise, heralding a dawn that would carry them forward into the unknown.